My name is Susan Miller, I'm 64 years old, and if you had told me 3 years ago that I'd be sleeping in a motel room with nothing but 2 suitcases and a worn-out quilt, I would have laughed. The memory of my once vibrant home, filled with Daniel's laughter, now felt like a cruel taunt. But life doesn't fall apart all at once. Sometimes it unravels thread by thread, starting with love, followed by sacrifice, and ending with a sentence that still echoes in my mind. We don't have space for you. It all started when my husband James passed away from pancreatic cancer. We had been married for 37 years. He left behind a life insurance policy worth $200,000, 0 cents. Every penny of it went to our son Nathan, not because I was weak or clueless, but because I believed in him. His earnest pleas for a future with Lauren stirred my heart, blinding me to their hidden intent. He was my only child, and at the time, he and his wife Lauren were newly married and trying to buy their first home in a suburb just outside Raleigh. Their mortgage application had been denied. Nathan called me late one night, voice shaking, saying they'd found the perfect place. A 4-bedroom modern house, bright, clean, full of future, but they were short. Without hesitation, I said, "I'll help, of course I will." I wired the money the next day. I moved in with them a few weeks later, not because I needed to be taken care of, but because they insisted. Lauren hugged me tightly and said, "You'll always have a place with us, Susan." Her warm embrace masked a calculated plan, one I'd only later uncover. Nathan kissed my forehead and told me I'd never have to lift a finger again. The house was beautiful. Too beautiful almost. White walls, gray laminate floors, brand new appliances that looked like they belonged in a magazine. My room was technically the guest suite on the ground floor. It didn't have a closet. The bed was a twin. The bathroom was a half bath, no shower. But I didn't mind. I was just happy to hear voices in the kitchen again, footsteps in the hallway, laughter upstairs. I even made me coffee those first few mornings. Lauren helped set up my email on their Wi-Fi, though she sighed every time I asked her to repeat the steps. We had dinner together the first few nights, real meals at the same table. It felt warm, like family, but the warmth was a facade, a temporary act to keep me compliant. But warmth doesn't always last, and some promises, no matter how sincere at the time, aren't meant to be kept. That was the beginning, and it wouldn't be long before I learned that the home I helped them build was never truly mine to keep. The shift didn't happen overnight. It crept in quietly, like a draft under a locked door. At first, it was just small things. Lauren joked to her friends on speakerphone, laughing that she lived with 2 kids and a grandma. I smiled politely from the kitchen, pretending not to hear. Her words cut deeper each time, a deliberate jab to make me feel small. Nathan started sighing whenever I asked questions like, when I wondered if I could put up a small shelf in the laundry room to store my detergent. He didn't say no, but he didn't say yes either. Just a groan and a distracted, "We'll see." Then came the changes, little deliberate ones. One morning I went to grab milk from the upstairs fridge, only to find a padlock on it. Lauren said she was meal prepping and needed it to stay organized. I didn't question it, I just used the garage fridge instead. A few days later, the Wi-Fi stopped working in my room. Nathan had moved the modem to his upstairs office. I waited 2 days before mentioning it. Lauren rolled her eyes, typed in a new password, and walked away. Their coldness grew, a slow poison eroding my sense of belonging. One night, I overheard Lauren on the phone in the kitchen. She didn't know I was walking down the hall to make tea. Her voice was sharp, tight with frustration. "She's sweet, but we need our own life," she said. "This isn't sustainable." I stopped in my tracks. My hands trembled as I clutched the edge of the hallway wall. I told myself I was imagining it, that maybe I was reading too much into things, so I kept going. I cooked dinner, folded laundry, wiped counters that were already clean. I gave them space. Then one morning, everything changed. I was walking toward the kitchen when I heard Nathan's voice coming from the living room. "She won't leave if we're too nice," he said. "We've got to push her out quietly, no fight." His words were a dagger, revealing a betrayal I never imagined possible. And then Lauren's reply, colder than I ever thought she could be. She won't sign over her share unless she feels unwanted. Make her uncomfortable. She'll leave herself. I stood there frozen, staring at the wallpaper I had helped pick out just 5 days earlier. My heart didn't break. It caved inward because the boy I raised, the child I nursed through fevers and coached through heartbreak, was strategizing how to force me out of a house I had helped him buy. Not because I was unkind, not because I did anything wrong, but because I took up space. That night, I made chicken Alfredo Nathan's favorite. Neither of them came to dinner. The empty table mocked my efforts, a silent confirmation of their plan. The next morning, I was rinsing strawberries at the sink when Lauren walked in. Her arms were folded, her face unreadable, but her tone was carefully sweet, like sugarcoating something bitter. "Susan," she began, "we've been thinking it might be time for you to find something more permanent. Just your own space, for your comfort." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I stood still, holding a damp paper towel in one hand. "For your comfort," she repeated. A few moments later, Nathan came in sipping his coffee like nothing had happened. "We don't have space for you anymore, Mom," he said. "You need to go." Just like that. There was no emotion in his voice, no gratitude, no hesitation. I didn't cry, I didn't argue. I didn't ask where this version of my son had come from. I just turned to face them both and smiled, calm, steady, and unshaken. "Okay," I said softly. "I'll be out by tonight." Lauren blinked. Nathan gave a satisfied nod, like he'd just checked something off his to-do list. "Thanks, Mom," he mumbled, already walking away. I went to my room, the one without a closet without a shower, and started packing. I folded my clothes neatly. I wrapped the framed photo of my husband, James, in my old quilt and placed it gently in my suitcase. I zipped up my toiletry bag, slid my half-read paperback inside, and then from the bottom of my suitcase I pulled out a red folder I hadn't touched in months. Inside was a copy of the house deed. My name sat right next to Nathan's 49% co-owner. They had forgotten that. Or maybe they assumed I had, but I hadn't. The deed felt like a weapon, my last defense against their cruelty. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't slam doors or leave notes. I ordered a cab, rolled my suitcases out to the curb, and climbed in without looking back. As we pulled away, I didn't feel grief. I felt something quieter, heavier, like the moment before a storm hits and everything goes still because I knew something they didn't. That house, the one they kicked me out of, was no longer just their dream. It was also their liability, and I had just lit the fuse. The cab ride to the motel was silent. I sat in the back seat holding the red folder on my lap like it was made of glass, and my grip was so tight the edge left a crease in my palm. I had booked the room a week earlier, not because I expected this to happen, but because something in my gut had whispered, "Be ready." The motel wasn't fancy. The carpet was faded. The lamps flickered if you touched them wrong, and the wallpaper smelled faintly of fried onions, but it was mine. I paid in cash for 3 nights, declined housekeeping. I didn't want anyone seeing how little I had. That night, I lay on the stiff bed with the TV on mute. I held the deed on my chest like a shield and stared at the ceiling for hours. I didn't feel angry, not even betrayed, just done. The stillness was my armor, forged from years of sacrifice now turned to steel. The next morning, I walked to a nearby diner and ordered a cup of coffee. Halfway through my second cup, my phone rang. "Hello, number?" I almost ignored it, but something told me to pick up. "Mims Thompson," a man said. "My name's Brad. I'm with Carolina Private Lending. You're listed as a co-owner of a property at 208 Willow Bend Road." My heart slowed. "Yes," I answered, cautious. "There's been a default," he said. He explained that Nathan had taken out a $95,000 0-cents business loan against the house without telling me. He'd used the property as collateral. Payments hadn't been made in months. 3 warnings had been issued, and unless the loan was resolved within a few days, Foreclosure proceedings would begin. I didn't panic. I asked questions. I took notes. Turns out Nathan had started a marketing business that failed in less than 4 months. Lauren either didn't know or she was pretending not to. Both possibilities made my stomach twist. Drud was polite but firm. I had 2 options: pay off the loan and save the house, or sign a release and let it go. I asked him to email me the paperwork. Back at the motel, I printed it at the front desk. I took out the same blue pen I'd once used to sign Nathan's kindergarten permission slips and wrote my name on every dotted line. Slow, steady, deliberate. Then I scanned the forms and sent them back. Brad called again within the hour. "Foreclosure will proceed," he confirmed. I thanked him, then hung up. No reaction, no rage, just stillness. Nathan was about to learn what it feels like to be left quietly, without warning, exactly the way he left me. I didn't tell anyone what I had done. No Facebook post, no phone call, no dramatic reveal. I just sat in my motel room sipping weak motel coffee from a paper cup and waited. It didn't take long. The next morning at 8:03 a.m., my phone buzzed with a text from Nathan. "Did you cancel something with the house? We just got a weird letter from a lender." I didn't reply. 3 hours later, another message. "There's a notice on the door. Call me." Still silence. By mid-afternoon, Lauren sent her own. "Susan, please, we're confused. Just tell us what's going on." I turned my phone off. Their panic was a mirror of my own silent suffering, now turned against them. Not out of spite, but because if I heard one more fake plea from the woman who plotted to erase me, I might forget that silence is sometimes the sharpest weapon of all. Less than 48 hours after I signed the papers, the foreclosure notice was officially posted. I didn't see it with my own eyes, but I didn't need to, because Lauren made it public. She posted a frantic message in the neighborhood Facebook group. "Urgent, our home is being targeted by a fraudulent lender. We may be victims of a scam. If anyone knows a foreclosure attorney, please message me." The irony made me laugh for the first time in days. Comments poured in. Neighbors, old coworkers, even Nathan's college friend Devin. "What happened? Can we help? I thought you guys were doing great." Lauren replied like a politician under pressure, never quite answering, spinning every question into vague hardship. "We're being betrayed by someone we trusted," she wrote. "Someone who was supposed to protect us." Her words twisted the truth, casting me as the villain in their carefully crafted drama. He heard the story shifted from comedy to something darker. Within hours, my phone started buzzing with messages from people I hadn't heard from in years. My cousin Ava, a woman from church, James's sister. All of them asked the same question. "Susan? What's going on?" Because Lauren had painted me as a bitter, vengeful old woman, someone who sabotaged her own family out of spite. She didn't mention the $200,000 0 cents, or the guest suite with no closet, or the locked fridge, or the conversation I overheard plotting to push me out. Just a curated narrative of victimhood. And Nathan, he doubled down. He posted an old photo of the two of us, him as a boy licking an ice cream cone, me beside him in a lawn chair. The caption read, "It's hard when the people who raised you turn on you." No names, no tags, just manipulation for sympathy clicks. I thought about posting the deed, the loan documents, the texts. But then I remembered what my father once told me. Never wrestle with pigs. You'll both get dirty and the pig likes it. So? I stayed quiet, but I wasn't done. 3 days after the lockout, there was a knock at my motel door. I didn't move at first. I've lived long enough to know that hesitation can be protection. The knock came again, softer this time. When I opened it, just a crack, I saw her, Lauren, hair messier than usual, eyes red, holding a bundled-up newborn wrapped in a pale pink blanket. A diaper bag hung off her shoulder like a peace offering. "Susan," she said quietly, "I'm not here to fight. We don't know what to do anymore. I didn't open the door all the way." "Not yet." She bounced the baby gently. "Her name's Emily," she whispered. "She's yours too. Don't shut us out." That hit harder than I expected. I hadn't known the baby's name. I hadn't wanted to. The sight of Emily stirred a pang of love, quickly overshadowed by Lauren's deceit. I opened the door. She stepped inside slowly, like someone entering a place they no longer belonged. Her eyes scanned the small, tidy room. "You still like it cold in here, huh?" she said with a faint smile. I didn't answer. She sat on the edge of the bed, cradling the baby. "We really messed up. I said things I didn't mean. We were scared. Nathan's too proud to say it, but he's drowning." She listed off their problems: frozen accounts, late fees, unpaid utilities. I watched her the whole time, watched her lips tremble, watched her blink too fast, watched her try to cry without fully committing. And then I saw it, a tag, still attached to the diaper bag. I leaned closer. "Posh Baby, a luxury brand over $900, 0 cents retail." I'd seen it in a magazine in the motel lobby just a week earlier. "That's new," I said, pointing. Lauren stiffened. "It was a gift," she said too quickly. "From a friend." I didn't argue. I walked to the window and looked outside. A black sub idled by the curb, polished, not broken down, not desperate. "You came here to get something," I said. She flinched. "I came here to ask for help." "No," I said, turning around. "You came here to film something." I walked straight to her, close enough to feel her recoil. I saw the phone in the side pocket. "You were recording." Her guilty flinch confirmed my suspicions, a final betrayal in their scheme. She didn't deny it. "We just wanted proof," she whispered, "in case you twisted things again." "Get out," I said. When she didn't move, I added, "Lower, colder, sharper. I'm not your storyline, I'm not your villain, and I'm not your ATM." Lauren stood slowly, still holding the baby. "She's your granddaughter," she said, voice cracking. "No," I replied calmly. "She's your daughter, and you'd better raise her to treat people better than you did." She walked out with stiff shoulders, the designer diaper bag still clutched in one hand. The sub pulled away, smooth and silent. I closed the door, locked it, and stood still. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from adrenaline, because I finally understood what had just happened. She hadn't come for forgiveness. She had come for footage. Something cruel, something twisted, something viral. But I didn't give it to her. The next morning I walked to the courthouse and filed for a temporary restraining order. I included everything: texts, voicemail transcripts, screenshots of Lauren's posts, the attempted ambush in my motel room, even the brand tag on the diaper bag. The clerk didn't flinch. "You're not the first," she said quietly. "You won't be the last." That night, I sat on the edge of my bed and opened my notebook. On a fresh page, I wrote one sentence: "They brought a baby to play victim." I brought receipts. I kept writing after that: names, dates, memories I'd buried deep. People I trusted, people I didn't. People I no longer owed anything to, because the next time they came for me, I'd be ready. My pen moved with purpose, each word a step toward reclaiming my dignity. 2 days later, a thick envelope was slid under my door. Official court seal stamped on the front. Restraining order granted. I made 5 copies, one for myself, one for the motel office, one for the local police station, one for Durain at the housing board, and one that I mailed to Nathan and Lauren's last known address with no return name and no note, just a neon sticky tab on the first page. You wanted legal, you got it. Later that night, I opened my email. There was a message from a journalist at Charlotte local magazine. They'd heard rumors and wanted my side of the story. I didn't hesitate. I sent them everything: scans of the deed, the bank transfer receipt, the signed foreclosure papers, Lauren's text about planning the nursery once she's gone, and even a photo of that $900 0 cents diaper bag. No caption, no commentary, just facts. And in the subject line of the email, I wrote, "Since they want to talk, let's talk." The article ran the following Sunday, a 3-page spread titled, "When Help Becomes a Weapon, One Mother's Account of Financial Betrayal." It didn't go viral, it didn't trend, but it reached the right people. In the Charlotte community, it rippled. The same neighborhood Facebook group where Lauren had posted her cries for help now buzzed with new discussions about elder rights, co-ownership, financial abuse, and adult entitlement. People didn't call me a villain anymore. They didn't even call me a victim. They called me Susan. And that was enough. But that wasn't the moment I knew everything had shifted. That moment came 5 days later. I was walking back from the local coffee shop when I spotted Nathan. He was sitting alone at a table in the corner, hoodie pulled low, staring into a paper cup like he was trying to read something inside it. I nearly kept walking, but he looked up. Our eyes met. He didn't wave. He didn't flinch. He didn't even blink. He just looked. And in that look, I saw it. Not guilt, not shame, just distance. The quiet recognition that whatever had once been between us mother and son was now something else entirely. His eyes held a hollow defeat, a silent admission of his own undoing. I walked past without a word. That night he sent one last email. No subject line. No long message. Just, I read the article. I won't contact you again. I'm sorry you felt like you had no choice. Not sorry for what he did, just sorry I felt forced to act. I archived it. Didn't reply. The next morning, the motel manager handed me a stack of forwarded mail. At the bottom was a large envelope with a real estate logo and a sticky note from Drain. You've been approved. Keys are waiting. I opened the paper slowly. A 2-bedroom condo in a quiet Wilmington complex for retirees and veterans. 2nd floor, balcony, ocean breeze, rent just under my pension budget. I stood there holding the letter and I realized something. I had stopped flinching at unknown numbers, stopped checking over my shoulder, stopped apologizing for simply existing. That evening, I updated my will. I removed Nathan's name entirely. Instead, I left everything what was left of my savings, my pension remainder, and the condo contents to 3 places: a domestic abuse shelter, a literacy nonprofit, and the animal rescue I used to volunteer for. I sent the paperwork to my lawyer with one note: if he ever challenges it, send everything publicly. I didn't wait for a reply. I knew he would understand. That weekend, one final text came from a number I didn't recognize. 4 words. We lost everything. Congrats. I read it once, then deleted it. No response, no reaction, nothing left to say. Their downfall, like a tragic play, was their own making, not mine. I packed my bags, not because I was running, but because I had finally stopped. The condo was smaller than I imagined, but the sunlight, it poured in like forgiveness. No footsteps above, no slam doors, just space, mine. And on the kitchen counter, I placed one thing, a tiny seashell painted blue with silver edges. I had picked it up from a woman at the boardwalk who said, "That one's for people who have just let go of something heavy." I named it Peace. And this time, no one could take it from me.